Hey everybody, this is my first Conan Exiles castle walkthrough. I've got one other video on my channel of a castle that I built before. It's pretty embarrassing, so if you want to go back and look at that, check out my channel. It's there. It's a pretty embarrassing and extraordinarily unprofessional video. I'm not a YouTuber by any stretch of the imagination, but in reading through the Conan Exiles forums and Reddit, thought that there might be some things that I've done in this castle that I wanted to share with the community. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my castle. I play in solo mode, so I've done a lot of things here that can't easily be done in a PvP mode, simply because there's a lot of things I don't have to worry about. But first of all, as I get a little closer to the castle, let me show you where on the map I am. I'm right here. There's this where my bed is in the castle, but it almost covers this entire area. And I think I'm about to get attacked. Nope. So I'm right here. And I chose this spot for a very specific reason, because I'm very close to most of the things that are available down here. Everything in this area is, everything I guess in this area is easily accessible, meaning easy, very easy access to Brimstone over here in Sinner's Refuge. There it is. And then in this area right here is tons of silk. You only have to fight off a few spiders. And then over here is just massive deposits of iron. And then it's just a short run down the hill here to all the wood and trees that I could possibly want. And then over here is all the stone that I could possibly want. And with easy access to the river right here, I've put a bunch of fish traps to give me ichor and oil. So it allowed me all the resources that I needed to build T2 and T3 building materials and build this thing up. Now, I did start this castle doing it all the right way. I built everything one block at a time and laid it down. After a while, though, of realizing that I was not progressing in the storyline, being that I'm not on a PvE server or a PvP server, I didn't really see the point in spending days and weeks grinding out supplies just for my own edification. So I just said the heck with it, and I spawned in most of the building materials. The castle was about half finished. The keep was about half finished before I said the heck with it, and I just spawned in the rest of the supplies for building the keep. The castle wall, the curtain wall, on the other hand, I actually used Homebrew's mod to build a what was it? I think it's called the City Life mod, that allowed me to create massive amounts of stone and massive amounts of wood all at one time. So then I did actually build the curtain wall by hand. But I got lazy, and again, in solo mode, I didn't see any reason for making a T2 or T3 curtain wall. So I just built this out of T1 materials because that was good enough, and I wanted to get on with the story, so I didn't bother with it. The way I did this castle, this was inspired by Dover Castle, and you can kind of see the shape of it. Let me fly a bit and show you what I've done here. So the castle itself is, so this intersection here is 5 blocks across, and then the corners are 3 blocks across, and it's symmetrical on all sides. And then just like Dover Castle, I built this extra wall that protects the entrance to the castle. And then around that, I built the curtain wall to protect the entire thing, to protect the whatchamacallits, the altars that I built. And I did use the Place Anything Anywhere mod, I can't remember what it's called, so that I could put 2 in there. I started off building multiple locations around the map, and I had one altar in one place and the other altar in the other, and I got tired of it, so I just added the mod and then moved them both right here and just demolished the other castle because I didn't need it. All of these walls are built, so if you look on the outside, up 2 levels high, I've got fence foundations, and then behind the fence foundation is a solid foundation, and then on the inside I've got walls. I've got some fence foundations there at the bottom just for a little bit of added reinforcement in case a purge came by and managed to get through one while I was busy dealing with the other side of the curtain wall. I have found that is the major problem, is when I'm getting attacked on this side and fighting off bad guys over here. I'm getting attacked on this side and I can't get to and from in time to handle all of it. I don't have any archer thralls, again, mainly because I'm lazy. But let me give you a tour of what I really wanted to do, what I really wanted to show you here. And that is what I've done with the entrance. So when you come around, so the first thing I did, and this was inspired by stuff that I've learned from watching a lot of Shadiversity videos. So thank you, Shad, for all of the education that you provided on castle design. So I've got the main entrance right here, and again, if I was more highly motivated, I would have built a barbican around this to provide a little bit more protection, but again, I was playing in easy mode on solo, so I didn't feel the need, so I left it out. If I do this again, I'll crank the difficulty up and build a barbican. But the main entrance, you have to come all the way around the castle, making 2 90-degree turns to get there, and then climb this ramp where you are met by a gate. And again, the keep walls are the same. They are fence foundations at the bottom for protection, followed by reinforced stone foundations, and on the inside are reinforced stone walls. So you've got 3 layers of defense built in right there. So you have to come up this ramp and you hit the gate. Above the gate is a siege cauldron to protect that. Once you go through the gate, you are met with this area right here. And I'm going to put myself back in walk mode here, just because it's easier. And I've got a drawbridge. And I will show you later, but maybe we can kind of see it right here. Underneath the drawbridge, I have got some crocodiles that I tamed. The taming unit, I can't remember what it's called. Was too big to fit inside my curtain wall. Next time I do this, I'll build the curtain wall big enough to put the taming unit, the kennel or whatever, inside the curtain wall. But I got the curtain wall outside down the hill. Once I tamed my crocodiles, and I actually tamed one wolf just for fun. I don't really care about the kennel anymore. So I've got the drawbridge. So if defenders make it through the curtain wall, break down the gate, and make it through the curtain wall, they have to take out this gate while having hot oil dumped on them. If they make it through that, I can raise this drawbridge, and they have to get across that without falling in and getting devoured by the 4 crocodiles that are in there. If they make it past the drawbridge, then I've got another gate here, which I've turned off the auto close on it. But in the event of an attack, I can simply close that gate. So now they've got to make it through 2 gates and a drawbridge and the siege cauldron. before you get to the main entrance to the castle. And this was the main area that I wanted to show you guys. I had made a comment, or I'd made a comment on Reddit a while back about drawbridges, and I mentioned that I had built one internally to my castle, and somebody seemed fairly interested in that. So I wanted to make this video showing how I had used that drawbridge internally. But then, again, every single wall in this castle is a foundation deep. There's only one window in the entire castle. So you walk in, and I built basically the throne room in Aquilonian. And I'm not really pleased with this throne room. If I do this castle again, I'm going to rotate the throne room 90 degrees. So you walk in, and you come down here, and the throne room is wide and shallow. If I was to do it again, I'd move the stairs into another location and make the throne room long and narrow instead of short and wide. Again, I'm just, at this point, I finished the game. I've got my keystone. I'm just not motivated to reconfigure the entire castle at this point. But you come down here, and if you're able to bust through the three gates and the drawbridge, get past the crocodiles, you have to come through the throne room. And were I to have any fighter thralls, this is where I would put fighter thralls as well. And I've got my wolf here. There's only one stairwell in the entire place, and it's back here. I've got it kind of hidden away. You can see there's the shaft right here. This area that juts out is the stairwell. So you come back through here, and I've got a little dump box where I dump all of my sort of non-military stuff for wearing when I just want to get rid of all of the armor. So if you go downstairs, then I've got my work area. And this is another kind of oversight, is I didn't leave myself enough room when I designed the castle for a good way to protect these chests. This is all my stuff that I've got, and these chests were a lot more full earlier, especially this one with the steel in it. I just got done building this suit of armor and the two swords that you see down there in my hotbar, and that just depleted my resources completely. But I've got my torturer's table, my Aquilonian artisan's bench, my armorer's bench from when I started, and then in here I got my kitchen. So I've got my cupboard with non-perishable stuff, my fluid press, my grinder, cook fire, stove with I've got a named thrall there at the cook stove, my fermentation barrel, and my preservation box with all my perishables inside it. Oh, looks like I left some stuff out a little too long. Let's get rid of that. So outside my kitchen, then this is where this room is sat mostly unused since I gave up on trying to build my reinforced stone castle. I've only been using basically this one furnace since then, but all of this was built back when I was doing everything by hand, and I had 3 furnaces burning constantly all the time, and yeah, I'm sure you guys know how that is. And then over here is all my other stuff. I got my advanced armorer's bench, my carpenter's bench, yeah, and my advanced blacksmith with named thrall, and I think Tanner has a named thrall. Yep, got a named thrall. She came in the purge. And then I got one thing here for back when I was building my suit of armor, where I was hoarding my supplies for that. Been there. So that's the first level, and it's just 1 floor high. And again, all these walls are 3 layers thick: 1 fence foundation, 1 foundation, and 1 wall. Continue on, and that's one thing that I I would change if I did this again is it's like that all the way to the top. And so right now here I'm passing the throne room area. You can tell by the Aquilonian walls. And I've now passed the throne room and I'm up into the private residence. And this is where I get into the sort of regret. It's 3 layers high all the way to the top, meaning that I lose out on a lot of space. Right, to do it again, starting here, I would just go to just walls only, because if someone wants to hit me, if someone were to hit me in a catapult in a PvP server, there's nothing up here that I couldn't afford to be destroyed. But this is, I kind of call this my armory. This is all the suits of armor that I built as I played through the game. And I kind of keep them up here in a display gallery, and I got some of the legendary weapons that I collected. And carpets make it look pretty. This was supposed to be my solar, but again, I lost motivation to decorate since I spent so much time grinding out the walls. I lost the motivation to decorate this room. This was going to be a meeting table, and I was going to have a desk over here and sort of a lounge chair over here, and I ended up just throwing stuff that I had sitting around in here, and I was going to decorate all the walls with mounts and trophies, but for some reason it stopped giving me heads. Like, very early on I got these two when I went venturing in the jungle. I got these very early on. I got this one by luck in the savannah, but it stopped giving me heads, so I've got basically nothing from the highlands. So, oh well. I've got a dump chest over here where I've dumped a bunch of the old stuff that I don't use anymore. Plus, I've got my keystone ready for when I end the game. Yeah, not much to see there. But once you get through the solar, move on into the bedroom, and once again, this is another. I just got lazy and stopped decorating. I got my bed there. I put a couple of end tables on there because I was still playing around with the Aquilonian stuff, but I didn't decorate this. And then once again, continuing story, I got lazy. This is the one hole in the wall. Were I to do this again, I would replace this fence, take down the insulated wood, and put up anti-climb, because if someone were to break through the curtain wall, they could very easily climb up this wall and make it into the castle through the bedroom, because I didn't put anti-climb here. But knowing that, again, I'm on a solo server, these guys aren't going to climb, so no big deal. I also got lazy and I put an elevator here. To fulfill the journey step, I needed to ride an elevator, and I got tired of going up and down that staircase every time, so I just threw an elevator right here. So you can tell, solo play has made me quite lazy. So that's the upper chambers. There's only room in this castle, despite its massive size, there's only room in here for one bed chamber. And if I were to do this on a PvE or PvP server, I would make the walls not so thick so that I could fit more than one bed chamber in here. Maybe make a shared solar so that more than one player could occupy this castle at a time. So going up to the last level, this was supposed to be a barracks. I was going to put a bunch of beds up here just for decoration and some fighter thralls. The idea being that if someone was able to climb the castle or somehow get up on the roof, they would have to fight through thralls to get there. So coming up on the walls here, very basic design. I've got some places up here where you can shoot down inside the walls, and if enemies are coming up away, you can take shots up here. I would have some archer thralls up here with some high-tiered bows and arrows. When I started off, I did set because, good grief, those snake arrows are they're just the best. Same thing over here. And I put a war horn up here, just not a war horn. I put a horn up here just, you know, because it's cool. Forgot to put stairs right there. Oh well. I've never used my roof for defense, even during a purge. But moving back around, I want to take you guys out on the defensive layer that I built to guard the entrance. Another place where I would put archer thralls again if I felt that I needed them, but again, in solo play I just didn't. So this castle is way overblown for solo play, but I enjoy building it, so whatever. From here I can shoot down. You can see the alligators under there. I can shoot down in this death chamber, basically, if people were able to break through that main gate. Same thing here. I can shoot down here. I'm standing on top of the second gate and the drawbridge, so I can shoot down in here as they're trying to break through this door. And then I also have access to my cauldron. Yeah, also access here to the main door. I can shoot down, so I can have 2 levels concentric fire down here if people are trying to break through the main gate. This tower also works great for that. I didn't put Merlin's, I'm trying to, what's it? Crenellations. I didn't put crenellations along the curtain wall, and that was a giant oversight on my part because it makes it extremely hard to shoot off those towers. But yeah, I've got my siege cauldron right here if people are trying to make it up the ramp. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to fly down. The other thing that I would do if I were to do this again is I didn't put a doorway right here. If I put anticline crenellations along the wall, then I could put a door right here so that I could easily access the wall from inside the castle, and I didn't do that. But from this tower right here, no good at flying, you can see almost everything. There's a thrall camp there. There's the giant scorpion right there. I can actually hit him with a bow, and I've loaded myself up with snake arrows, loaded up with about 100 snake arrows, and I've actually taken out the scorpion from right here and went over and grabbed the legendary weapon that's in that chest. But if you run through here, that's where all the iron is. There's so much, I can't even carry it all. They're all camped there. All the stone I want right there. And then continuing on over here, coming around, there's another thrall camp there. Not much there, but there's lots of ostriches, so lots of feathers for making non-snake arrows. And we've got the big Darfari thrall camp right there. There's some good thralls to be taken in there. There's another thrall camp right there. Nothing decent, nothing really worth commenting up there. And then we're back around. If I run down this valley, again, I can get to all the brimstone and all the silk that I could possibly want. All the iron, we touched on that kind of behind the castle. And so I just kind of consider this to be almost perfectly situated for the beginning stages of the game. Once you move past level 50, the location of this castle is kind of inconvenient. And were I to do this again, I would build this castle. I would build this castle right here again. Maybe I would build it a little bit closer to the iron because you make that run a whole lot more than I make brimstone or silk runs. And it's just as close to water and trees. But I would maybe build it back in this area over here, closer to the iron. But then I would also build another castle very, very similar to it up by the barrows, closer to the snow and the mountains. Because going after the star medal for all of this was a massive headache. But here's my castle. Like I said, highly inspired by the stuff that I learned about castle building from Shad Brooks at Shadiversity. Check out his YouTube channel, as well as watching countless Conan Exiles builds from Sven P. He's moved on from Conan now. He's doing mostly ARC builds and that kind of stuff. But another great channel full of tons of speed build videos. Learned a ton about the build system here in Conan Exiles, and I've had a lot of fun building this castle, and I wanted to show off how I'd employed it to build something that's kind of reminiscent of Dover Castle. I really like it, and I've had fun building it. I hope that some of the things that I've shown you here have given you some ideas, and I'd love to hear your feedback and things that I could do to improve this and make it better. I've never played on PvP or PvE servers. I've been strictly solo only. So anybody who does play on those types of servers, I'd love to hear your feedback about how this would work in those kind of environments, what I should improve, what I should change, because I'm thinking maybe that might be my next step. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it greatly.